Shookamoo. Ohio. 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 How are we doing today?
Home in the valley, home in the city. Home isn't pretty, ain't no home for me.
Ohio, Ohio.
Home in the darkness, home on the highway. Home isn't my way.
We are live on YouTube, by the way. If you want to share that link in here, I appreciate it.
Burn out the day, burn out the night. I can't see no reason to put up.
But here's our event, what we're waiting for. It is currently 2:41 p.m. for us. Got about 30 minutes.
I'm burning for you. I'm burning for you.
Tune in this pitch fast girl.
Nobody else outside of it
Right.
has any comprehension or any easy inroad into that.
So you've really named one big silo that sometimes is the elephant in the room, which is that we are very navel-gazing and we talk amongst ourselves. And even within the blockchain community, there's a lot of siloing, that even though the technology enables collaboration in this trustless environment,
Oh, it
you don't
does.
see
It
this
calls for
level of
yeah.
collaboration being magically solved, right?
Yeah, and I'm sorry. Throw it back to decentralized AI. This is all there, and it's much more uphill in that environment.
That's amazing. Well, Lisa, what are you seeing as also someone who's been here early in the industry?
I would say that what you said is, I agree with what you said. I think what we have to look at is the motivation. Why are we doing that? And I think culturally we're wired to win. You can't win if you collaborate. If everybody wins, then I'm not winning myself. So I would say, take it down to the foundational level. Our culture is designed so that there are winners and there are non-winners. So how do we change that? And that's not necessarily, that's Silicon Valley culture, which is, as you said, where I come from. It's all about which is going to be the winner. Winner takes all, right? There's going to be one winner for everything. And crypto doesn't change that. The tools may change, the ability to collaborate may change, but our fundamental desire to be the winner doesn't change. And now we're talking about decentralized AI. We're giving each individual even more power to create something on their own without needing to collaborate with other people. Like a PTA mom who has that project manager brain can now create a project and put all the pieces together using AI. How are we going to foster collaboration in this environment where we give everybody so much power? I think we need to be aware and intentional about recognizing the value of collaboration, because if we build together, we build faster.
I think that's a good point for AI agents. We assume that they're going to collaborate, but if they're a reflection of ourselves, then not everyone is collaborative. You know, we should not assume that that's what the world will look like. We're going to have to intentionally program these motivations in, and especially if our industry is starting off where like TVL, you know, the token value is like what prevents a lot of collaboration. That is something we have to address. So that's a really big silo that you're mentioning here that we've named, which is the motivation, that we're not all coming with the same motivation. Because and with open source software, there wasn't the market as the big factor, right, in the early days. It was not determining. It was like money was not the main issue. There was easier value alignments or motivations.
Well,
that
I mean,
people saw.
yeah, I think it's definitely true that people, it's very hard to get people over the biggest silo of all, which is like you and yours and someone else's. And there's both trade, right, where you exchange, and so hopefully your pile gets a little bit bigger. And then there's cooperation or pooling or creating a shared public good, right? And I think one of the things that helps make this equation a bit more acceptable to both people who want to win, to
Kind of boring. Pitch Fest should be starting. Cool. We won't be able to watch this whole thing. Raul, the top G, is going to go on stage towards the end of this, but let's enjoy what we can. So these little pitch fests are basically like super fast showcases of new and promising projects where they get like, yesterday I think they said it was like 3 minutes to explain and 3 minutes of Q&A. I'm not sure if it'll be the same today, but very rapid fire look at a bunch of new upcoming projects. What is WOW? Hold on, hopefully the logo will come up again. Hey, there's us. Oh, it's gonna be on that one. Quite a long intro that I have here. Wonder if they're having technical difficulties again. I think this is the real start. Wow, I'm on. Suki, you have a lot of people testing your memory today. I think that's the third person that's asked if you remember them. Who likes my shirt? My shirt is boss. Although my camera's always flipped. Here we go.
Please welcome to the stage Anthony D. Oreo.
Oh, actually, I need a clicker.
Oh, right now?
Yeah, it's okay. I'll manage without it. So, welcome to the CoinDesk Pitch Fest Finals. This is the first time that these pitches have been done here on the main stage. So I'm very excited to bring out some incredible companies, but preceded by some fantastic judges. My name is Sunil Sharma. I've been working in the early stage startup scene in Canada for quite a long time, running Techstars, Extreme Ventures, Founder Institute. And this is the fourth year oh, thanks so much. This is the fourth year of the CoinDesk Pitch Finals. And today, we have companies that are representing 7 countries. They've traveled from all around the world. 38 companies were pitching on the stage over there, the builder stage. Some of you have seen them, to get to what we have today, which are the 6 finalists. We ran 5 heats yesterday. 1 company from each heat was selected by those judges, and 1 wild card company was selected from investors at large to bring us to 6 companies. So we're going to select later today, announce the winner and the runner-up from this PitchFest competition. But what I want to do right now is bring out the judges. These are 3 fantastic judges. I'd like to bring out David Pachman, the managing partner and head of venture investments from CoinFund. Melanie He, she's the co-founder and partner at Spartan Group. And Nalin Mittal, he's the product lead for Web3 from Google Cloud. Judges, please come out. Okay. So thank you so much. What I wanted to do is just have each of you introduce yourself, tell us about your fund and what you invest in. I'll start with you, Melody.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Melody. I came all the way to Toronto, my first time in Canada. Thank you for having me. All the way from Singapore, probably one of the longest flights out of everybody here. So I started my career 20 years ago. Working at Goldman Sachs in Hong Kong and helping technology companies to go public, and then I went into venture and also building startups. I started Spartan Group 8 years ago with my 2 other co-founders, focused only on Web3. We love the technology. We love investing. We also do advisory. We also build products in-house. So I'm very excited today to be a judge. Yeah,
okay.
That's me.
Thank you, Melody. David.
Hey, everybody. I'm David Pachman from CoinFund. We're one of the oldest crypto-native investing firms in the world. We've been investing in crypto for 10 years. We have a seed stage fund, writes seed checks. We've got a Series A, sort of venture stage fund that writes larger checks, and we have a sort of liquid crypto hedge fund. So welcome to see everybody. Psyched to meet these 6 companies.
Okay, and Nalin.
Hey everybody, I'm Nalin Mittal. I lead Web3 product in Google Cloud. So we're the best cloud for Web3 developers. We're offering node infrastructure. We have indexed data for almost all relevant blockchains. And then now right now we're partnering with protocols to offer faucets, validators, and then we're spending a lot of our time thinking about how Web3 can help AI in terms of understanding the data, writing smart contracts, building dApps. So yeah, excited to be here.
All right. Well, thank you for doing this, and more importantly, welcome to Toronto, welcome to Canada. We're really glad you came. So let's do this. These are the 6 finalists that are going to be pitching here today. These are 3-minute pitches. There's a countdown clock right in front, and that'll be followed by 3 minutes of Q&A from the judges. And then there'll be a deliberation. So here we go, in alphabetical order. I'm going to introduce Edwin Hanshu. He's the co-founder and CEO of OneConto. And OneConto's 1K Prime enables real-time cross-border settlements for institutions using stablecoins, which is replacing legacy systems like SWIFT. So please welcome Edwin. Here you go.
Thank you.
Good job.
Hi, I'm Edwin Hanshu, co-founder and CEO of OneConto. Today's global economy moves in milliseconds, but companies are still waiting days, trapping their capital due to slow settlement systems. We're building the financial stack for global institutions, enabling real-time, transparent settlement and treasury flows across digital and fiat assets. Legacy rails like SWIFT and traditional FX settlement create costly bottlenecks, draining companies of over $120 billion annually. One corporate FX platform pays 25% of revenue, $50 million a year, to offer same-day settlement. Institutions are now demanding real-time, low-cost, transparent payments, and they're no longer accepting traditional delays. Our solution is 1K Prime, delivering global payments settled in minutes, not days. Powered by stablecoins and local banking rails, we combine on-chain speed with off-chain trust. We automate cross-border transactions, eliminate settlement delays, and cut costs by up to 50%, unlocking trapped capital for instant use. The cross-border payments market is $210 billion, growing 12% annually, with real-time settlement the largest component. Institutions are rapidly looking for new solutions solving these traditional legacy problems, and we're already scaling ahead of the curve. 3.5 billion processed, 678% year-over-year growth, and 80 institutional counterparties onboarded. We achieved cash flow positive status in Q4 24. Traditional banks, they're slow and costly. Neobanks, they're faster, but they still lack institutional liquidity. 1K Prime stands out, delivering real-time settlement, deep liquidity, and fully automated, scalable infrastructure. By pairing stablecoins with fiat rails, we drive up to 50% cost savings, providing next-generation platform services for global financial flows. Our team blends deep expertise in technology, trading, and compliance. Myself, sales and trading at Wells Fargo. Michael Hanchu, CTO, co-founder of QuantConnect and NASA award winner. Steven Stefanovic, CCO, DODIA, Counterterrorism Financing, and JP Morgan AML lead. And Taha Chaudhry, head of trading. Built Sun Trading's New York desk and managed $20 billion in lending and derivatives for MF Global as their chief risk officer. We're raising $10 million to scale globally and bring real-time payments and settlement to global financial institutions. Thank you.
Okay,
look at that.
Right on time. Judges, questions?
Sure. So the benefits that you're describing the solution brings are afforded by anyone who uses stablecoins over crypto rails, real-time settlement, low-cost fees. So what value do you add beyond that, and what chain do you work on, and what stables do you use?
Yeah, and for that reason, we see the direct stablecoin on-off ramping more as a knife fight. And we focus on value-added services around the automated composable fund flows, empowering treasuries and operations teams to decrease cost in their operating structure while getting faster settlement.
And how are you thinking about regulatory compliance, and how is that baked into your platform?
Yeah, great question. We constantly think about regulatory given our traditional financial backgrounds. We partner with companies like AI Prize to streamline the onboarding and provide a framework we can implement globally for not just global clients, but also as we expand in regions. And then we utilize AI through the whole stack. At present, it's saving us roughly 5 people on headcount for our compliance program.
Can I ask you, like, who are your top 3 clients? Like, what do they
do?
Yeah, what do they do?
Yeah. Top 3 clients are payment service providers predominantly today, with focus with end client focus in Africa, LATAM, and APAC. And flows being predominantly stablecoin or fiat to fiat transactions.
And so give us some examples of some real customers.
Yeah.
Yes. So we work with WeWire Africa, Finmo. We work with we have confidentiality with all of our clients, but those are 2 that I am able to say.
Speaking of confidentiality, do you do anything to obfuscate the transactions so that other people can't watch your clients move money around?
We intelligently use multiple wallets and clearing wallets, so that way it would be very difficult to pinpoint to an end beneficiary.
Most builders and
have you figured out a particular use case or kind of customer that's resonating with this? Is it more like companies that have international employees or customers, or is it something else?
Most people in this industry
so we focus on payment service providers, corporate FX platforms, and banks. Each one has their own unique need. On the PSP side, that would cover the remittance use case. So we service a couple clients there. On the corporate FX side, as mentioned in the presentation, they pay a considerable amount of money to get same-day settlement via credit facilities associated with their banks. And the banks themselves find difficulty moving even same currency transactions through the SWIFT and correspondent banking network. So we have it's the same solution, just targeted slightly different for each focused area.
I don't know if
How are you doing client acquisition right now? Is it very offline, very heavy, or do you have any partners who do all this distribution for you? Or?
So we have a robust referral partnership network, and we also work with platforms like Finery Markets, or we're good partners with Utila, so we have mutual sharing of clients there. And then, given the size of our team, we're currently 6 people, so there is outbound reach as well, and we've seen an increase in inbound coming after our FinTech Meetup pitch competition win.
Okay, that's time. Right. Good job,
Thank
Edwin.
you.
Please, big round of applause. Thank you. All right. So Chain Patrol is the next company up. And Chain Patrol protects leading Web3 organizations like Consensus, Arbitrum, and OpenSea from phishing and impersonation attacks by auto-detecting scams across domains and social platforms. It's blockless, integrated into 20 wallets, including MetaMask and Coinbase Wallet, enables real-time threat mitigation and takedowns. I mentioned that there were 5 companies coming through the heats and 1 wild card. Well, this is the wild card. So please welcome Toronto's own Vito Giovanetti, the co-founder of Chain Patrol. Go.
Good afternoon and welcome everybody. My name is Vito and I'm the co-founder and COO of Chain Patrol. And we're super excited to be here to tell you about our life's work to make the internet safer. The first thing that I really want to emphasize before we get into anything is how big this problem really is. This is a multi-billion-dollar problem every year. People are losing hundreds of millions of dollars each month. Wallets are getting drained, not just here in North America, but all around the world.
But that's not fair.
Who's building Chain Patrol to make the internet safer? Our team has been working together for the last 8 years. We built the first company that pivoted over into Web3. And they have, both of my co-founders have backgrounds from the University of Toronto in AI, and the rest of our team are top AI talent in different parts of the world, such as New York and Warsaw. As I mentioned, this problem is super big, billions of dollars, hundreds of millions in certain months throughout the year. But our customers that we're protecting, why do they want to use Chain Patrol? A Web3 brand protection company that takes down fake domains, fake social media. They do this because there's a history of malicious attacks. The pace and volume is unprecedented. It's costing their teams and communities millions of dollars. Security is super fragmented in the space, so Chain Patrol was created to spread our blocklist data far and wide across Web3 to respond faster to threats. We created a real-time security network that allows us to issue warnings from wallets and web browsers across the space. Leading wallets like MetaMask, Coinbase Wallet, and Phantom will issue a warning to block a malicious or impersonating threat or a wallet drainer within 15 minutes or less. We've also integrated this data into Google Safe Browsing to block across the entire browser network, Mozilla Edge and Firefox. We do unlimited takedown support across all the social platforms you see behind me, from Twitter to Discord to Telegram. There's not a scam we won't address. We have bots in the community to understand what the pulse of threats are and the volume, and to be able to respond faster. Whether it's in Telegram, Slack, or Discord, we're everywhere the Web3 communities are. We automate threat detection. We are fighting AI threats with AI, and we're at the cutting edge to combat impersonation of brand, staff, and community. We have had some incredible case studies. Our customers, Consensus, Polymarket, Phantom, Optimism, MetaMask, ZK Sync, all companies that suffer from scams. We're notorious for our protecting the Arbitrum airdrop and Polymarket during the US election. We have stable pricing plans from the smallest projects to the largest, up to $180,000 a year. We're going to spread our data far and wide, messages, wallets, consumer dApps.
Oh, the mic's been cut. That's all right. We'll keep
We're raising our Series A.
He's like, I don't give a fuck, dude.
All right.
I'm just going to talk loud.
So what we'll do, Vito, is we'll continue this with some questions. Please.
So you mentioned a bunch of customers and that you've got sort of graduated pricing tiers.
Yes.
Can you share with us revenue or kind of how far along you are?
Yeah, we did 2.1 million in revenue, ARR, in the last 10 months. In the last 3 days, we've closed Polkadot, Space and Time, Abstract, and we have more big top-tier customers closing in the next couple of days. We're building incredible momentum in the space and also collaborating with security, on-chain auditors, and people running bounties to support the ecosystem and refer each other customers.
Now I trust them.
Can you talk a little bit about how your solution works with other solutions like Blockade, or does it compete with that? And if so, like, how does it differentiate?
Great question. Yeah, we actually complement Blockade. MetaMask consumes both Blockade data and Chain Patrol data. You can see us both getting attribution when that warning comes up. The difference between us is that Chain Patrol works very, very closely in brand protection, full service, from detection to blocking to takedowns to triaging, 24/7. Like, we're known for being the hands-on team that'll solve your company's threats when your staff doesn't have the bandwidth to.
Can I ask how many clients do you have?
Yeah, we're a $2.1 million revenue company with only 70 customers in Web3. We think that we could be a $100 million revenue company in the next 3 to 5 years with how we're growing and how we see Web3 blossoming and Web2 blossoming into Web3.
So what would you say the average, the ACVs are? Is it 50 to 100K a year?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're seeing our ACV actually climb. When we first started, it was around 5,000 per month, and now it's edging between 8,000 and 10,000 per month for larger organizations.
I might have missed this as part of your presentation, so I apologize, but how are you using AI to do some of this threat detection?
Absolutely. We're at the cutting edge of AI in this brand protection space. We're using AI to complement our detection. We're also using AI and rule systems to review if a threat is malicious. We make all of these ruling systems that the AI is going through public to our customers and through a public search page, so the community and the ecosystem in Web3 itself could identify a threat and know exactly where it's been blocked and what the takedown status is.
Are there network effects in your business? So the more attacks you see or the more wallets blocked, does the solution become more valuable to others?
Yes, absolutely. We've seen when we first started, people told us that this problem was going to go away.
You're right. His voice is
we've
like
only
he's
seen
edging.
this problem grow more exponentially.
He sounds
so
like he's on the edge
with
of
the rise
coming
of
with
AI
every
and AI
sentence.
agents and people making it
holding
super
it back.
accessible to build
He's got
and
vein
have these
popping
things
out of his neck,
self-operating,
too. He's
we
really
are
fighting it.
right at the cutting edge there in terms of making it safer.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Great job, Vito.
Have a great one.
Making Toronto
Thank
proud.
you.
I'll take the clicker. Thank you.
No, I think.
Okay, so keeping it Canadian, let's go on to the next pitch. Move the slide. Okay, I want to introduce Dr. Mehdi Kargar. He's the co-founder of the Heisenberg Network. Heisenberg delivers real-time, personalized context for millions of AI agents via reusable data pipelines that are faster and more efficiently done than ever before. So this company, located between Montreal and Toronto, please welcome Mehdi.
Okay.
Hello everyone, I'm Mehdi and I'm a co-founder of Heisenberg.
Hi,
99% of AI agents die. Why? Because they're all dumb and static without context. What is context? It's real-time information that help agents make decisions. Context makes agents to be actually useful. But the problem is that getting context is very expensive. First off, you need to build pipelines to turn raw data into context. This means hundreds of thousands of dollars in development costs and weeks or months of work. And it gets worse. Obviously, you want your context to be fresh and up to date. But this means you have to run the pipelines every few hours or even every few minutes. What does this mean? Thousands of dollars in compute cost every single month. With Heisenberg, you say goodbye to building pipelines. We solve this big problem using our platform and our own CPU depend. Let's see how. First off, any non-technical user can come to our platform and add personalized context to their agents in 30 seconds. This is how. We built popular demanding pipelines based on customers' demand. Our pipelines could be on Uniswap on-chain data, on Twitter KOL data, or news from CNN and Fox News. Then the user comes, pick the pipeline they want, and then customize it with prompt. This is a very big deal. One pipeline can create millions of agents. This is why our customers love us. This means we reduce the development cost by 100x. And remember the cost of running these pipelines? Our CPU depend reduces that by 70%. The market is absolutely massive. There will be over 1 billion agents over the next few years. The TAM is well over $100 billion. For us, the go-to-market strategy is very clear.
TAM?
AI agent launchpads. That's how we already secured 100,000 users. Heisenberg was born out of my research as an adjunct professor at the University of Waterloo. My co-founder is a leading AI researcher and holds a Canada Research Chair position. We're building Heisenberg to accelerate the adoption of AI agents. Come join us. Thank you.
Hey,
okay,
he did it within the minutes.
We'll set the clock to 3 minutes, and then we'll do some questions, please.
Go.
I'll go. Does your solution, I mean, now that you have models with, like, Gemini has millions of token context window, right? And you can kind of stuff the context with everything you have about a user. How does that affect what you guys do?
So what we do basically is we provide this fresh AI-ready data that we call context to the AI agents.
Yeah,
for example, I can give you the example of our current customers. Some of the customers, they need to get Twitter data to insert into the mind or the factual memory of the agents. So regardless of the memory size, regardless of the size of token that you can pass to the LLM, you always need to have this fresh context, fresh, let's say in that case, trends from Twitter to be injected into the memory. Let's say you're building an agent and you want the agent to talk like Trump. Trump constantly changes the way he presents stuff, his policies
Why are we talking about Trump?
His context has to be fresh, updated multiple times a day, and then gets into the brain of the agent. So that's why, regardless of the size of the window, we will always be required. And that's why the customers work with us.
How many customers do you have, and how do you charge for the product?
We have 10 LOIs, and over these customers, some of them are AI Agent Launchpad, so we're getting 100,000 customers as of now. Sorry, end users as of now through these customers. Because building these pipelines, this technology that we are building is not easy. It's very time-consuming, pretty complicated. So the AI Agent Launchpad don't have the capacity or focus to build them. For us also, we're not in the business of launching an AI agent. We're in the business of empowering them, making them actually useful. As I said at the beginning, 99% of agents today die. Why? Because they all do the same thing. But with us, they get fresh context. They can be actually useful. They can provide something meaningful. And I think the actual true value of Heisenberg will become more visible over the next 2-3 years. When we get to the point that we have billions of agents doing stuff, all of these agents will definitely need fresh AI-ready data. And we'll be there to provide it.
So how does it work? If different AI agents need different context, do they tell you hey, I need context for a particular use case, I want real-time data for that? Or do you build certain vertical knowledge of certain contexts and supporting specific agents in specific verticals?
Let me go back to the customers I talked at the beginning about. So this customer is, for example, telling us they want Twitter data about AI news. So we pick 100, 200 Twitter accounts. We build one pipeline.
10 seconds.
And then, basically we allow the users to personalize this context using the prompt that we give them. And then that's basically how we empower users. So each pipeline can be customized. Sorry,
okay. Thank you, Mehdi.
Thank you.
Make Canada proud. And Iran. All right. Next up, this is a fun one. I'm going to introduce the company Nifmint. Nifmint enables brands to tokenize physical products, to authenticate goods, and drive post-purchase engagement, bridging commerce and Web3 by turning products into verifiable digital assets. Here, all the way from Seattle, Washington, is the CEO of Nifmint, Jonathan Blanco.
One of the biggest problems that brands face is counterfeit goods. Not only does it a hit to revenue, it's actually a hit to the brand perception. Another big problem that brands
All right. Go full screen for this one. I forget, did I have to refresh yesterday or did it just start working? Black Mirror at breakfast, the battle for AI soul. Jeez. You know, light morning conversation over breakfast. Do I have my time wrong somehow? Nope. We're gonna wait till the 59th second of 3:15 and I'll start it. Did it refresh? We are officially at 3:16. Consensus, you've let me down. How could you do this? Hey, there we go.
All right, so we got to keep this conversation on the DL here. In some ways, it's a low-key, provocative topic that you don't often hear about in the mainstream halls of Web3 conferences. the provocative, dangerous idea no one mentions that a lot of folks in Web3, crypto, blockchain, whatever you want to call it, like to try and make money. Or try and find alpha, as they say. 3 crucial words you hear all the time, not financial advice, but it seems almost disingenuous and dishonest to have a stage and conversation with the intersection of crypto and AI without talking about how people are trying to make money in crypto and AI. How will it impact trading? How would traditional traders, what do they do? What are the new tools for traders and folks finding alpha? Well, you can say whether that's good or bad, right or wrong. That's not for me to judge. But I think I know a lot of folks, including you, who are curious about this. So I am thrilled with the smart folks we've assembled to discuss this issue in detail. Please welcome Carson Farmer, David Menarche, Rahul Patel, Saad Najah, and Leah Cowan Butler. Panelists, please.
Rahul! Oh my god, I broke the audio with my screen. Hey, there he is.
All right, welcome everybody. I actually just wanted to start this panel by thanking CoinDesk for putting me on an AI panel, because I usually do all the Web3 gaming stuff, which is really my world. And I wanted to start with a bit of an idea to, I guess, frame the conversation that we're going to have today, which is actually a conversation that I had with my friend Hilmar. He is the founder of a game called EVE Online. I don't know if any of you have heard of it before.
Wow.
Have you heard of it?
It's huge.
Yeah, well, of course. In this game, trust is a gameplay mechanic, and information is a weapon. And what that produces is this kind of information asymmetry, where you can actually create arbitrage opportunities through information. And I actually think that's a great way to think about where, in the case of DeFi, where we are today in terms of how AI agents are changing that landscape. So I want to get into some philosophical stuff around that, maybe a little bit later, but perhaps we can start somewhere a little bit simpler. Guys, for anyone who's not familiar, can you help me just separate the hype from the reality? For people who are using on-chain agents today in DeFi, what are some of the most useful things that they can actually do right now? Let's just start there, and then we can go a little bit deeper later. Who wants to start?
Yeah, so I think it's mostly analyzing data for traders, processing information faster, and also faster execution, especially from an on-chain context. Narratives are shifting faster than ever. There's more tokens launched than ever. And so as a trader, you need to understand, okay, what is the deployer's history? Who are the traders that are in so far? What is their buying and selling history and trading patterns? So getting an agent that helps you analyze all that gives you an edge. And that's mostly, from my perspective, what AI agents are used for in terms of trading.
Would anyone like to add to that?
Well, I mean, I guess the main question is, like, right now, what are they actually doing most of versus what can they be doing a lot more of? And up until like very recently, and actually Olas is doing some really cool stuff to get us past that, but up until very recently, it's been a lot of just like doing the same thing that other crypto traders do, which is shitposting online a lot. And that's been the biggest use case we've seen so far, because it's like pretty easy to conceptualize, it's pretty easy to deploy, and like it actually seems to have an influence on the market. So these like on-chain agents, a lot of them are just the sort of caricatures of themselves that aren't really doing a lot of like sophisticated trading. And we're just starting to see companies deploying like real AI-driven workflows that actually are like executing real trading strategies and are actually analyzing real alpha not generated by them to do more sophisticated trading. And I think we're like just starting to see that. I've seen some successful deployments already. Our team has engaged with, in our competition framework, we've engaged with teams where these are like actually production agents. So that shift is happening, but the frank answer is like, up until now, mostly the same thing that day traders trading crypto have been doing, which is spending a little more time on crypto Twitter than they probably should.
So if it's sort of, I guess, might I say, rudimentary in terms of things like, I guess, sentiment analysis and whale tracking, that sort of stuff. What does it say about the maturity of these tools right now? Like, you're saying there's a shift. Where do you, like, how far off are we from getting to, I guess, the absolute goal for these kind of tools?
Yeah, happy to take that. I mean, it's not new that people use algorithms to trade, right?
Yeah.
But what we're seeing now is that these so-called agents are becoming more general purpose, less rules-based, and more open-ended. So you can give them like high-level goals, like manage my portfolio under a certain strategy, which I might describe in natural language, and then the agent autonomously takes care of that over long periods of time. So at OLAS, we have a product like this. It's called Baby Degen, and it's a baby still, right? So it does, actually, it's live. You can use it right now. You can fund it. We've put guardrails on it, so you can fund it not too much, because we frankly don't trust it too much yet. But it's doing quite well. We have public performance metrics on this you can find on our site as well. And I think we're really now at this point where AI isn't just sort of influencing, it's actually sort of trading on our behalf, and these products are really coming to market. I would say it's natural that AI influencers are more widely seen because that's really the product. Whereas in, for instance, OLAS's case, you have a one-to-one relationship between the user and their agent. So this is also something I note I think is helpful for this discussion. Broadly speaking, right, you have these two ends of the spectrum, this one-to-one relationship. I have my agent that does things on my behalf. I self-custody it like I self-custody my keys. And on the other end of the spectrum, I have this kind of service provider agent, which could be an influencer, or it could be like a hedge fund kind of agent or so.
Saad, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, no, I completely agree in the sense that at the minute, we're still very much in our infancy. You know, AI agents are more context collectors than actual fund managers. They're not really there when it comes to an execution standpoint. So I think we still have a way to go in the next 12 to 18 months. You will see more cross-chain integration and actually have that execution more taken care of.
It might actually be useful to take a step even further back and just get a bit of a definition out there in terms of what is, I don't even know how to pronounce it. Is it DeFi AI? DeFi AI?
Yeah.
Like, obviously it's not just as simple as the intersection of DeFi and AI. The two are fundamentally interconnected and really kind of changing the way that we use both technologies. So how do you actually define it? And I guess there's what we know today, which is what you were just describing, and what could it actually be in the future?
Well, I was going to say, basically right now as a trader, you're manually executing, right? Things on chain. And as you have more and more networks that are fragmented, right now a trader has to go through multiple tools to execute, whether it's a wallet, a bridge, different chains. And so there's intense protocols right now that aggregate these things and abstract those things away. And then if you have a solver as an agent, or an agent as a solver, they can do the execution for you. And you layer that on top of that, the sort of sentiment analysis guidance that the agent can provide by analyzing patterns. Then your trading becomes informed and it's faster execution.
Okay, so the execution piece is perhaps a little bit that's missing right now, though, right? Yeah.
Yeah, there are some protocols that currently do it or are in beta, and Shogun is one of them that's building.
Did anyone want to add to the definition?
Yeah, I mean, happy to. I think.
Or challenge it?
Yeah, I actually hate that term. I think like a term we can't even pronounce is pretty useless.
Can we come up
because
one
everyone's
I
like,
can
are you
pronounce?
saying DeFi or DeFi?
Yeah.
DeFi.
Yeah, well,
That's what I say.
Yeah. I think, again, it helps to kind of portray that also with relation to other products. So you have the kind of co-pilot model and you have the fully autonomous model. You have your Tesla car, which augments your driving, and you have the Waymo car, which takes you from A to B without you doing any driving. And in DeFi, we are starting to see both models, right? And the co-pilot model can be great. I think it's particularly around like the kind of trader you were entering with as a sort of persona. But I think actually if crypto is meant to break out of this like forever sort of specialization niche into really wide adoption, then it has to be the autonomous route, right? Because your average user, frankly, doesn't have the time, the attention, and the care to get involved with these co-pilot models. They just say, OK, I've got a bunch of money here. I can put it into like whatever savings product I get over here, or I can give it to my autonomous AI agent. And that's sort of why I think this particular area, which is sort of automation times 10, eventually full autonomy, is super exciting. And I think actually ultimately we'll just call it DeFi. Because all of DeFi will either be like a co-pilot model for the experts, or it'll be this.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we have a kind of my working definition of DeFi, or what will eventually be DeFi, is basically in order for it to be an agent, it has to be making a decision in that loop. It can't just be executing predefined, trading strategies. There has to be like a decision-making component for it to be agentic, I think. And the truth is, right now, like an agent is what everybody wants, and like a workflow is probably what everybody actually needs for the most part. But in order for us to get to like a unique thing, which is DeFi, it needs to be agentic. It needs to actually be making decisions. The truth is, it's something like 60 to 75% of like trading in the US is already automated. Those workflows are like already happening. But the crazy thing is like 91% of fund managers right now are saying they're either adopting or looking to adopt AI tooling in the next 6 months. So like this is clearly not just on the mind of like the crypto DeFi space, but like across the finance industry. And in order for us to have something special, I think we really need to be moving towards like fully autonomous, because we have the tools to do that. We can do fully decentralized storage. We can do fully decentralized compute. We can do fully, autonomous, actual fully autonomous agents. And until we get there, it's just sort of like AI-driven workflows and things like that, which are awesome and very powerful, and we should be absolutely doing that. But there is this spectrum that I think we kind of need to get a good definition for.
I'm glad you brought all of those things up, because there's some wild stuff going on in this space at the moment. I mean, you've got like on-chain agents that are just assisting traders. Then you've got on-chain agents that are launching their own meme coins. And as we've seen on X, some of these AI agents, some of the narratives that they're pushing can even become self-fulfilling prophecies.
Yeah.
I want to ask, like, how do you think this kind of reflexivity actually plays out where you see the intersection of AI and crypto?
Yeah, so I mean, it becomes somewhat of a flywheel, right? When you have an AI agent that has a mass following, not just with humans, but with other AI agents, then whatever it promotes essentially becomes a flywheel, which essentially, gets popularized very, very quickly. So I think that reflexivity will begin to actually expand in certain areas and contract in others, as the AI XPTs of the world are going to become more and more legacy. People aren't going to continue giving them the amount of attention that they used to in the past.
You think they won't?
No, I think they were very novel when they first came out, and everyone jumped on the hype train. And now when you look at it, AI XPT and a lot of the other kind of peers in this group aren't where they used to be. They're not commanding the same kind of respect and attention that they once were. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out over a longer time frame, but also the emergence of, Twitter bots that essentially are trading, that are actually carrying out their own, fund management. That becomes a lot more interesting, because then there's an actual weighting behind it that we can tangibly actually measure.
There's a really great analogy that I heard in ETH Denver at one of these side events. And I'm sorry to the speaker, I can't remember who said it, but they said, we're right now with AI trading agents, we are at the stage where there are elephants painting. And it's amazing. This elephant can paint a painting. Like, I cannot believe it. It's crazy. They're able to paint these paintings. And then you kind of look at the painting and you go, but it's not actually a very good painting because it was painted by an elephant. And so we're still at that stage where it's like it's very exciting and they're able to engage but we're going to mature, I think, very quickly, and as evidenced by conferences and events like this, where we're going to just start telling actual production trading agents, don't just follow the latest hype. Like, you actually have to make some decisions around what's valid alpha versus some pump and dump scheme. Like they're going to have to get as sophisticated as real trading agents. And so we're going to get past the point where the elephant is just painting some crummy picture of a smiley face, and they're actually going to have to start, painting the next Mona Lisa. Well, let's not go that far, but I think that's a nice analogy. I like to think about it that way.
Yeah.
It is amazing that they can do it.
I think what's interesting is now we all have a lived experience with this meme coin era of like the interests and downsides of this reflexivity, which can go both ways, and how certainly like information asymmetries amongst humans, and this, in my opinion, maps one-to-one to AI agents, can create sometimes interesting new belief systems that get sustained, and very oftentimes very extractive, bad environments for all actors, apart from those who are doing the extracting. And so really, I think what I hope we will see, and I'm actually quite convinced that we'll see it, is all of crypto is about this sort of idea of basically creating access around capital formation at a very, very early stage, when really the belief is ahead of the product. That's just by definition the case. And what happens when you put in like very good AI agent, right? We're not there yet, but ultimately, once there's really agents that are much more rational, much more forward-looking, and can hold stronger beliefs for longer amounts of time. Because what is clear is that at the moment, I think a lot of, that's maybe my personal opinion, but I think a lot of these belief systems, i.e. tokens, that actually have probably a relevance to existence, often get sort of overtaken by some random hype, which is predictably going to die. And so the interesting question I almost pose to all of you is like, if you add higher levels of intelligence, can we effectively, borrow better from the future to actually build greater product? And I don't have the answer for that.
Would anyone like to attempt to answer that?
Yeah, you're asking very hard questions. We're having trouble defining what an AI DeFi agent even is, so it's going to be difficult to get there.
Yeah, one step at a time. Look, off the back of that, I'd love to. I guess, there's us making decisions, then we might have our AI agents that are making decisions. But a lot of what's happening at the moment, whether it's through these AI-themed tokens or even just general meme coins, most of it is driven by social hype. So how are you actually distinguishing between hype and genuine signal? And can an AI agent do that? Like you were saying, it's more rational, so...
Yeah, I mean, today's agents are a mixture of learning-based model, large language model, generative AI, and rules-based models. There's no single system that is fully dynamic to my knowledge. And so there's always whatever the creator sort of imbued into it, which kind of puts guardrails onto the system in terms of its capabilities. And so I think today, really, it's like the human in the loop still, which helps with this distinction between signal and hype. I mean, of course, you can create sentiment machines and so on that kind of ingest large amounts of quantity, and there's probably some signal to be found. I mean, OLAS has a prediction market use case where agents trade in prediction markets autonomously, and we can see that works there. But I think, yeah, ultimately, the way I personally, and still expect even with our agents for the foreseeable, is you look at, you go dig and you look at the facts, but don't know if that was...
Yeah, well, from a trader perspective, how we differentiate between noise and signal. Let's say, like in AI specifically, there's been multiple sort of mini narratives that have formed, and typically traders look for people that have executed successful trades in the past. On crypto Twitter, they will sort of express their thesis, and there's a term we call it memes itself into existence. So that's my honest answer. Like, for example, MCP is a hot topic right now. And so a lot of traders will look for new protocols that are building sort of, MCP. But yeah, a lot of us don't know. Like, we don't dig into the tech and can tell what's real and what's not. It is a lot like a KOL driven.
Do you guys agree?
Is it worth distinguishing between hype on the side of the assets that these trading agents are exploring, and hype in terms of the capabilities of the agents themselves, because those are two things too, right? Like if I'm eventually going to identify an agentic product that I actually want to hire to be my, like portfolio manager, I probably don't want to just pick the like most hyped up one. I want some sort of, like I would hire someone based on like their resume and their quality of their past work, and maybe look at their portfolio that they've been managing in the past. And I mean, that's literally what my team is focused on, is sort of like ranking. And I think that only comes through repeated evidence of like successful trading strategies or like sort of things over time. And that's kind of interesting because so far we've seen like a lot of really cool agentic experiments, and we have to do this. Like this is one of the superpowers of DeFi, is we can actually do like sort of financial experiments and learn very quickly before productizing something into the real world. And so we absolutely should be doing that. But what we've seen is lots of those experiments and zero trajectory in terms of like verifiable and like observable data. I have no idea how well they're doing. We just did a competition which was amazing, and we collected a ton of data around that, and it was a 7-day P&L trading competition, and their strategies were obviously optimized for like 7 days of trading. And that's great for a competition, and it revealed a lot. But if I'm going to hand over my portfolio to an agent, I don't want them to optimize my portfolio over a 7-day period. I want them to optimize my portfolio for, the rest of my pre-retirement age, which at this point looks like for a very long time. So, these are different things that I think we need to think about. Is like there's alpha that they're detecting, and then there's alpha that we're going to have to detect to determine who's doing and managing that alpha best.
That was really interesting what you were saying about like even through hiring and what you're looking for in terms of someone who would make a great trader. I'd love to know, like, as people are increasingly relying on AI tools and using that to help them uncover that alpha, how do you think traders will actually develop a psychological edge in the future? How is it different to what they have today?
So I think if you break it out, right, the strategy of trading as a whole now will continue in a different format. That doesn't take away the human edge. It's just you're playing a different game. And that game is now, how do you utilize AI to actually, give you that execution that will be able to find bigger alpha than just general humans. And that's where it comes down to, obviously, self-reinforcement learning, training models, optimizing models, building a portfolio team. And at PipWorld, what we've essentially tried to do is you have the equivalent of a BlackRock hedge fund team in your pocket. That's managing your portfolio. You can see every analyst. You can track their performance. You can scorecard it, who was right about a particular call, who wasn't. And that's where the edge is going to be. It's going to be you actually looking at your team, seeing who's been right about past decisions, who hasn't been right, and essentially optimizing different strategies. Because no matter what happens with AI, there will never be a one-fits-all approach. It will be an element of a particular agent or agent group is good for this particular market. While the market's volatile, this team does great. While the market is ranging or going in a particular direction, a different team is great. And as humans, that's what we have to recognize and give the strategy back to the actual AIs to be able to inform them of what they should be doing.
I mean, I have a cheeky answer too. A little bit.
You have
a little bit of a cheeky answer to that one.
I love cheeky answers.
Which is, in the AI space, that's more my thing than the trading space. As I said, I'd gladly hand over my portfolio to an agent because they would do a way better job than me. But I come from this space where right now a lot of people are talking about like taste and this sort of like intangible quality of if you take coding agents for an example. Anyone can deploy an app in very little time, but those engineers or people with good taste can deploy a better app faster. And it's that sort of like intangible thing that's going to give, I think, a lot of traditional traders with a bot army of trading bots, it's that taste that they're going to be able, it's very intangible, and I as an engineer, I think
replaced by AI. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like this is the sort of nice thing that keeps people kind of important. And I mean, I did vibe trading a few weeks ago. I tried it out. I hooked up my agent that I was working on in Claude to an MCP server, and I just said, hey, what should I invest in? What are the latest pump and dump coins that came out? Should we play around with that? And I told it to be very critical with me, like, tell me if I'm wrong. And I still lost. I paper traded, so I still lost all my funds in about 6 trades probably. But it was this like, because I have no taste. But someone with good taste could have probably, prompted that agent and actually made a lot more progress. I mean, that's an extreme example. I have no trading taste, but we can get there, I think, where that's the intangibleness.
Yeah, and I would just add, like, the way we are building useful product right now with Baby Legion isn't so much the focus purely on like finding alpha and like more on the trading agent purely, but also simply on like reducing user overhead and saving costs for them, for instance, bridging things or mentally getting involved with like different DeFi products. So that's a different way of looking at this, because as I said in the beginning, like a lot of people here who will be listening are probably not even having any DeFi capital actively working for them. So it's not even like, is it in the most yield-bearing opportunity or whatever? It's more like, is it even working?
Yeah. I think as long as there's some human element of decision making, there's always a psychological edge. For example, like position sizing. So like an AI can recommend, okay, I think this token is bullish and it has good sentiment. And it may even recommend, okay, you should put 10% in your portfolio. But as long as there's an element of being greedy when others are fearful and vice versa, there are traders that are fundamentally better at executing that. And so, like, for example, position sizing is something that a trader can repeatedly kind of have an edge over others. So yeah.
Unfortunately, we're at time, but I just want to say thank you so much, because this turned out to be a Web3 gaming panel after all. I think DeFi itself really is a game where people are looking for that competitive edge through that information arbitrage, where information is a weapon. And I think you guys laid out in terms of how brutal it's going to be.
Yeah, look at that. They just sent it. I have a bone to pick with all of these crypto events. They all try and fit too much stuff into a pretty short time period, such that every event feels short, right? Like, I feel like they could have talked for another hour there. There was so much that wasn't even touched on. In fact, like, I know that there's a lot of topics Raul probably wanted to talk about there, but they have 30 minutes. I don't know, sometimes they're fun, but I've noticed this like almost every crypto live event and conference is they just try and fit too much into the schedule, and so everything, like if we go to the agenda here, I think I saw some things that were like 10, 15 minutes long. Like, imagine trying, here, 15 minutes, 10:20 to 10:35, 15 minutes, like another 15. Like, I get it, you want to give time for everyone, right? And maybe this is only a single speaker, maybe they can do it pretty quick, but crypto's just such a dense topic that, like, you need more than that time to get into the meat of it and really interesting stuff. Like, I could tell, just because I've talked with Raul so much, I know he wanted to, like, jump into a couple new topics at a point there. There's one point where he started to say it, but then he was like, so yeah, and kind of ended the thought, because I think he realized he was out of time. But, whatever. Did they do breakout rooms? Every conference does it differently, but Consensus has multiple stages at once. So they have the main stage, summit stage, exploration, builders, spotlight. And I actually don't know if each of these are technically different stages, but yeah, there's at least multiple in the sense that, like, multiple events will be happening at once. Like, here's 2 that's overlapping. They're going to be on different stages. And unless you mean breakout rooms in terms of what, like hackathon type build things? I don't know. Okay, so I'm gonna spin down the stream. I want to keep this one nice and short. I will edit it down to just the Shogun part, so there's a standalone video on YouTube. Other than that, it's Friday, and I got a lot done today, so I might spin up a stream on YouTube in a couple minutes here and just do some drumming. I don't think I'll even do it in Discord. Just gonna be a personal thing. If you want to come hang out, you can find me on YouTube. But no promises. I actually need to look at my schedule and see if I need to do anything else. But yeah, might be streaming on YouTube in a little if people want to hang out. Other than that, I know there wasn't like a ton that was talked about there. This kind of feels like a dumb question. But does anyone have any questions or want to build more off of what was talked about there, or how AI is going to play into Shogun, anything like that? Because I'm happy to take a couple minutes here and talk about that. And while you guys think about if you have any questions, I'm going to BRB super quick. Chamomile. I got that motherfucking chamomile tea. No, so I've done lots of conferences, and often there are the stages that really are only to whet the appetite, and then for more in-depth can speak to specific. Oh, I don't know if Consensus does that. I assume so, though. Every conference is a little different, but I bet you there's like actually, I think I was told this earlier this week, and I forget. For example, I think like Rahul is doing something else now, as part of Consensus. Like I think he might be in a sort of breakout room or something, continuing a conversation elsewhere. Oh. Okay, wait. I want to watch this real quick. This is Sergey. This is the man that I actually believe is Satoshi Nakamoto, with lots of evidence for it. Top right. That's Satoshi right there.
Hello,
FN.
Toronto! Oh, you guys can do better than that. Come on. Hello, Toronto! How about that? Well, I love Consensus. I've been here many times. This is the first time I've gone to Consensus in Toronto. The last time I went was Austin, and it was 105 degrees. Whatever that is in Celsius, you Canucks. Okay. So we're here today to talk about a lot of really exciting, incredible things. There's an enormous amount of innovation in the stablecoin space. There's an enormous amount of innovation in the DeFi space. Just by the numbers, they'll give you a baseline. Stablecoins are one of the most successful assets in the history of cryptocurrencies. $243 billion of them minted, 120 million transactions a month. Vast majority are tokenized treasuries, so they're the very first use case of a real-world asset. And this is a growing and fertile space. It's probably going to grow to over $1 trillion by 2030. And so we're joined today by a lot of great pioneers from different places. And I'd like to start with Eric. And first off, American Bitcoin. I just want to ask, I always give people an opportunity to introduce what they do and their venture. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, thanks so much, guys. And Canada, it's great to be with you. We love you very much, and it's awesome to be up here. You guys have treated us so well. The reception this entire team has gotten since we've been up here is incredible. So thanks, and we love you. I care about two projects in crypto: World Liberty, with two of my best friends right here, and American Bitcoin. I'll introduce American Bitcoin quickly because that was the question, but effectively we want to be the lowest cost miner anywhere on Earth. We're doing it in Texas. We're doing it in conjunction with Hut 8. We're mining Bitcoin at 35, 40 cents to the dollar of what it's obviously trading for. Again, lowest cost energy, and we're mining a ton of it, and I think we're going to be the most explosive Bitcoin mining company anywhere in the world, hence American Bitcoin. We're doing it in a country I love with a product I love, which is digital gold. The other project is World Liberty Financial, and I can't tell you, I don't think there's ever been a crypto project that's growing quite as fast as what we're doing on this front. It's absolutely amazing. We launched USD1 a couple weeks ago, and fastest growing stablecoin in I think the history of stablecoins by a factor of a lot. And the announcements that are coming up in the next few weeks are really astronomical. And again, it's back to the very American-centric theme. It is, everybody around the world loves the US dollar. They want to be on the US dollar. There was a stablecoin that was launched in Europe, and only half of 1% of Europeans wanted anything to do with the stablecoin that was based on the euro. where did everybody want to be? They all wanted to be on the US dollar. And so I think it's an amazingly kind of patriotic act. And I think it's one of these things that really can spread to the entire world and give so much freedom of kind of financial choice, especially to markets and countries where people have never had any kind of financial freedom, had never had any kind of financial independence, might be in a country where it's war-torn, where it's subject to corruption, it's subject to ridiculous inflation. Every single day they go to work and their money is being burned under their mattress, and all of a sudden we give the world the ability to be on the US dollar, backed 1-to-1 by US treasuries, and a lot of other aspects of world liberty, which we can get into on the DeFi side. But I've never been more excited about two projects. This has really become my blood, my life, and soul, and it's a great honor to be here in Canada with all of you.
Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah, and we'll get to world liberty now, and that's so let's start with USD1. Zach, I guess there's multiple Zachs. You're Zach 1, I remember, right? And you're Zach
1.
All right, Zach 1. All right, so Zach 1.
It's interchangeable.
Speaking of 1, USD1. So what is USD1? What's the value proposition? Let's kind of walk through what you're bringing to the market that's unique and new.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess just to sort of bring up a perfect example of what USD1's mission is take our, the recent transaction that MGX took $2 billion and invested it into Binance, right? Had that transaction not settled in USD1, MGX was likely going to use some sort of foreign currency, likely UAE.
Excuse me? This isn't even a live stream. Consensus, get your shit together.
And by them taking that currency, converting it into
Ethereum. That pump above my head. What the fuck? What is happening? Their like video player itself is lagging. Huh. Weird. You see this? They don't want us to watch this video.
In DC, we have great stuff we're doing with World Liberty.
What is happening? This is really weird. It's annoying.
transact faster, more reliable, and more secure than traditional banking rails or cash payment settlements.
Sounds like you're brewing for some sort of major announcement maybe today.
We'll see. We'll see.
Okay. And we have a guy on the end of the panel. There you go, Sergey. So he and I are very similar. We both wear plaid shirts. We both have beards. We get confused at conferences. So what's Chainlink in all of this? You guys doing anything interesting?
Yeah. So I think there's a huge amount of institutional adoption that we're involved in, and I think that's kind of leading me to wear suits. Basically, what's happening if we're discussing the
Makes two of us.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Generally speaking, I would say, yeah, there's a lot of great stuff going on in our industry in general. There's a lot of great stuff in DC. We have great stuff we're doing with World Liberty in the institutional world. And I think that we can bring the existing financial system and the DeFi system together into one kind of large...
My favorite piece of evidence for this guy being Satoshi. Almost
and
misspeaking.
After 7 years of developing smart contracts and 10 years a number of years. In any case, a number of years in
So when this video was published, it was only 10 years after Bitcoin's creation. So he accidentally almost just said after 10 years working in crypto.
A number of years. 10 years. A number of years. In any case, a number of years in the blockchain industry. you basically see.
He's freaking out inside. He's like, "Fuck! I just said that." He never loses his train of thought.
You basically see.
Right now he's thinking, "Oh my God! I just said 10 years ago. Holy shit!"
Overall global system that benefits the consumer, benefits society, benefits really everybody. So.
And I want to follow up a bit because you're a domain expert on oracles, and Chainlink is in a very enviable position of having a kind of a God's eye view of every single chain and all the information flows. So how has the DeFi space transformed the last few years, especially given that there are now real-world assets and these assets like USD1? Where are we at? Where are we going with that
80% of DeFi volume is enabled by Chainlink.
I would say that in the DeFi space, you have now
I want you to think about what that means. Right? Like, it's more important than the chains that these DeFi protocols run on, right? You might think like, what's a good example? Where the fuck was Pancake Swap is powered by Binance Chain. Jupiter is powered by Solana. Whatever, like that's true. But if Solana wasn't there, they would just build it on another chain. If Binance Chain wasn't there, they just built it. There are already other DEXs on other chains, but they all need what Chainlink offers, and no one else offers.
Of like modular components that can be composed into a world-class financial institution. So
yeah,
you have derivatives,
thing,
DEX, markets
the
like
should be over by now.
Hyperlane and
well,
not this. In any case, a whole bunch of them. There's a whole bunch of different DEX. Perp DEX environments, there's DEX trading environments, there's lending markets, right, like Aave and what World Liberty is doing. There are different payment mechanisms. World Liberty has the USD1 stablecoin. So you basically have a number of these modular components. You have payment rails, you have trading environments, you have lending market environments, and these environments would have historically lived in a financial institution at a very high cost of operation, very high cost of licensing, very high cost of really just kind of a transaction for everybody. And now you have these modular building blocks, which 3, 4, 5 years ago, they were just starting to be built. Now the modular building blocks in total are back to about 240, 250 billion in total value locked, which is close to the height that they were before. But they reached that previous height off a very small base of high quality building blocks. Now you have a very large and very high quality base of building blocks. And that's one of the reasons I believe that we can go very far past 250 billion in DeFi. We can go to like 2 trillion or 3 trillion. And I think the type of stablecoin that World Liberty Finance is making is going to be a big part of that, because you need highly reliable, institutional grade, aligned with government kind of payment rails. And those payment rails are very important because they allow liquidity to flow into those modular pieces and to work well. And so I think that a high-quality stablecoin like USD1 is a critical modular component and building block. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I wish I could just talk about technical stuff all day, but actually I do want to talk shop about business. So Zach 1, how do you want to use Chainlink as you guys grow in the next few years? Like, what do you think Chainlink can bring to the table for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think there's so many things Chainlink can do for us. It's hard to cover all of them on the stage. I mean, like you said, Sergey's the king of pricing oracles. I think, obviously that'll be integrated into our DeFi platform eventually. I think I won't steal the other Zach's thunder. He's got a pretty cool announcement coming up that maybe he wants to just...
Should we just jump in now?
I think you should just go for it.
Okay, so like Sergey was saying, Chainlink is absolutely critical to merging traditional finance and decentralized finance, which has been our mission at World Liberty Financial ever since the start. We don't see a world where DeFi exists in its own ecosystem and traditional finance carries on, but we believe in a very short amount of time that they will, in fact, merge and just be the future of finance. So to that end, World Liberty Financial, our USD1 token, is now bridgeable across chain, thanks to the incredible people at CCIP, which have enabled this cross-chain compatibility. Currently, Yep. And so right now, you can actually bridge USD1 from Ethereum to BSC and back and forth. And I know that you guys announced with Justin that USD1 will be coming to Tron very, very soon. And then you will be able to bridge it across that network as well, with many more networks to follow. Our goal with USD1 is to be absolutely everywhere that people are transacting. So ultimately, powered by Chainlink, you will be able to do that with USD1. So yeah, we're really excited about that. And one thing, just to take it a step further, I'm sure people know that Sergey and the whole team at Chainlink have been working very hard on integrating with traditional financial institutions, which is our ultimate goal. So thanks to being compatible and integrated with CCIP, when they actually get all of that online with traditional financial institutions like JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, et cetera, USD1 will actually be grandfathered in at those institutions and will be composable with those institutions as well.
That's pretty cool.
So the future of finance is actually here right now. And just one more thing to point out, the first bridge of USD1 from Ethereum to BSC was for $47. So if you see it on chain, that was us testing the bridge.
Yeah, it's so cool when you think about the scale of these things. We have a microfinance shop over in Kenya, and we gave about $5 million of loans over the last year into over 70,000 people in Uganda and Kenya, and the sizes were usually under $50, and the repayments was over a 90-day period. When you use stablecoins, you don't have the Forex risk, you don't have any of the local politics get in the way, and almost no transaction fees to service those things. So it really makes finance local, and we were able to get the interest rate from 85% down to 18%, with the non-performing loan rate at only 2%. Normally it's 40% NPL rate, so 20 times less on the NPL. So let's talk about this to Eric, and I think we're kindred spirits in a certain respect in that being a member of the cryptocurrency space, we've been debanked, and we've had a unique relationship with many financial institutions. Even though we're in full compliance, they just shut our accounts down. And I always like asking, starting to bridge the TradFi and the DeFi space and just make it Fi. How do we get back to the people here being in charge of their money instead of banks being in charge of their money and governments being in charge of their money?
Yeah, so what you're describing with the debanking issue is really kind of a trust issue. And our industry and the method of consensus avoids trust issues, right? So the problem is that they unfairly, without proper justification or proof of any kind, are able to control a system in a way that is asymmetrically better for them, but worse for you, right? From a debanking point of view.
I hope you don't.
So the answer is that you codify all the conditions under which debanking can happen. You codify all the conditions under which compliance happens, and you create a kind of state of hyper-automation. And that state of hyper-automation is a group of contracts on chain fed by a group of oracles that...
How do you guys feel about ADA? Or not how do you feel? What do you think the general sentiment is? Like just on Twitter, etc., Telegram, Discords. I feel like ADA is not Cardano is not exactly a favorite token.
Prove identity, prove know your transaction information, prove account holdings, prove things to those contracts about the real world. And you need both, right? You need the contracts to be the automated processing center of the compliance question. And those contracts will be public and available on chain so that everybody can verify the conditions under which you can be added or removed. And then you need the oracles around the contracts to prove the relevant data to the contracts, which could be the current state of your account holdings, the current value of your assets, the current state of your identity, that you're not on an OFAC list, that you're not, you know, on any kind of list of people that aren't allowed to do transactions of certain types. And then you can take the trustless, tamper-proof, cryptographically driven guarantees of the Bitcoin world, or the thing I was trying to, the example I had before was Hyperliquid from the Perp Dex. I misspoke, it was called Hyperliquid. There's just a million great things going on, so it's hard for me to keep track.
Yeah,
but you can now
cryptographically
guarantee that your participation in the system happens under certain conditions that cannot be modified later. And then if you cannot modify or you cannot manipulate the oracles who prove things about you to that compliance system, then you get two great benefits. Benefit number one in a state of hyperautomation is you remove people, you remove cost. That people and cost getting removed lowers the cost of compliance very low. The second thing you get is these cryptographic guarantees such that you cannot be removed. And that's actually what we advocate for, what I described. That's what we're advocating for in DC with the Treasury and the OCC and the regulators, is that there should be a US standard.
130, I don't mean to talk over you. DJED, WAN USDC, USDM, USDA. What the fuck? I've never seen so many off-brand stablecoins I've never heard of before. Alright, so I guess Cardano technically has stuff. Let's check out an exchange. Okay, this is their first exchange listed. You'd hope this is their blue chip big one. Let's see. Oh my god. What up, Bourto? What up? Oh, what up, Jordan? One of the many Jordans. Oh my god, that's a chart? Oh my god, that's the chart for this DEX's native token over a month period. That's no good. No, can I see your pools? Where do I see your pool? God, Cardano's not doing good, huh?
For the automated cryptographically guarantee that your participation in the system happens under certain conditions that cannot be modified later. And then if you cannot modify or you cannot manipulate the oracles who prove things about you to that compliance system, then you get two great benefits. Benefit number one in a state of hyperautomation is you remove people, you remove cost. That people and cost getting removed lowers the cost of compliance very low. The second thing you get is these cryptographic guarantees such that you cannot be removed. And that's actually what we advocate for, what I described. That's what we're advocating for in DC with the Treasury and the OCC and the regulators, is that there should be a US standard for the automation of compliance. And that if you can actually lower the cost of compliance, you can make US issued digital assets more attractive. Because if you can transact with those assets at a very low cost of compliance, then they fundamentally are more attractive. And so this automation of compliance is really, I would say, one of the next big things that can be, I would say, a feature of our industry. Like being able to do compliance better is a feature. Even though we don't like compliance, we still have to do it to comply with various legal standards. So this is, we have a very good approach for this, and I think it'll work well, and it'll work.
And that's why you're here. You know, just to tell the audience the global cost of compliance, I had to look it up because it's so crazy. It's about $500 billion globally every year. Compliance. Those are the paper pushers, the T crossers, the I dot.
Alright, I don't care as much about what these other two have to say. Look, there's technically 5 people on stage. That's hilarious. Only Charles, Sergey, and fucking Eric really talked. Okay, cool. I'm gonna spin down the stream, everyone. If you want to catch the Shogun portion of Consensus today, check my YouTube. We have a nice clean recording there. It'll be a standalone video soon, but you can still watch it in the live stream if you just rewind. Other than that, we will catch you on the next one. I might stream a little on YouTube here. Who knows? But for now, everybody have a great Friday. Enjoy the weekend, and I'll talk to you all soon. Oh, bye-o.